Ba, 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 ba.
Dun, 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 dun,
Brum,
dun,
brum, 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 brum.
dun.
Hello, lovers.
Hello, lovers. Hello, lovers. Let me get my hat
Hello,
on.
lovers.
That's better. That feels better.
There you go.
My hair is not, I need a haircut today. Okay, here we go. Hello, lovers. Hi, welcome to Hacks and the City. That's right, Hacks and the City. We are here. I'm gonna go on my YouTube. Yep, we are on right now. We see it. Hello, I am Y over here at On the Cusp Tarot, and we have
Stella from Stella Speaks, the podcast.
Stella Speaks like that.
Mm.
Ta-ta. Okay, so today we'll dive right in. We're gonna dive right in because even though this is live right now, remember the other purpose of this live is for your podcast, Miss.
Right.
So we can't.
Right. We can't spend all of our time with the chit chat and making funny faces at each other.
Yeah, because the listener would not be see our faces. Who are listening right now? She just made the blowy fish face, whatever. Whatever that is.
Well, it is the models episode, so.
So we have one person, Michelle. Michelle in the chat right now. Hello, Michelle.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for coming. And 2 minutes, let's go. So which episode are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about season 1, episode 2, which is called Models and Mortals. And it's the episode about the modelizer.
Which is perfect. Models or mortals. Mortals like us. It's like right. As I was watching it, I was like, this is the best. So many amazing things. Okay, so how we do it. Hello, Lady Blind Wolf. Thank you for joining us for this live podcast. Hector is here. Is it Hector or Hector? Hector, right? Hector. Anyway, so our format to start the whole podcast is to draw a card.
I forgot my deck. I got it. You go first.
Go get your tarot deck. Hey, Kate. Kate Simmons is here. Hello. For those who are listening on the podcast, if you have a tarot deck, if you watch the tarot, if you watch the episode, get out your tarot deck. I am using the Muse Tarot. I'm going to keep on brand because right, are writers. We need some muses in our lives. So that's what I'm doing for my tarot draw. And what are you using?
This time I'm using the Halloween Oracle. It's a Stacey DeMarco deck that I really enjoy, and I pack it away all year and I don't get it out until fallish time. So it's always exciting to use every year.
PSL season.
Indeed.
Okay. So we're going to draw a card. And then we're going to talk about that card relating to this episode, season 1, episode 2, models and mortals or models or
I think it's and.
And, okay.
I think so. Oh, here's mine.
I got mine.
Time for the big reveal.
1, 2, and 3. I got Page of Emotion, which is Page of Cups.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
What is yours?
I got the Skull of Stars, Infinite Possibilities.
You go first or I go first?
You can go first.
Page of Cups is all about like new emotion, right? With that traditional RWS, he, she, they is holding a cup and a fish is gonna jump out, right? Which is the new possibility, new emotion, with the ending of this episode, everybody watch it already, so no spoiler whatsoever. When Mr. Big kind of come back into the cafe.
Oh my gosh.
You know, well, models are good, but sometimes you just want to find someone who can make you laugh. And I was like, okay, new possibility, Page of Cups, new emotion. And Carrie was like, ooh.
This one.
Right?
And he didn't just accidentally run into her. Like, she had told him where she likes to write. He like was just hoping to, he'd been thinking about it. And so, yeah. So this card, I think that this is really comes to the crux of a lot of what this episode was about for me, which was all about like self-esteem and body image stuff. It's in the way that the women are processing this. And this is from the little book, and I thought this is perfect. As the famous psychotherapist Jung suggested, knowing our darknesses help us to cope with the darknesses of others. Taking time to know thyself and to seek understanding of our more destructive or shadow natures can lead to huge happiness and less anxiety.
Know thyself.
Right. And so a lot of this episode is about like the women coming to terms with how they perceive their own beauty in relationship to beauty standards that are around them so much in Manhattan. And so it's like, even Carrie, even when she talks about, she's like, I thought that I'd come to terms with my looks when I turned 30, but she's starting to feel kind of anxious and maybe I'm not, I'm invisible and I'm not that beautiful and I'm this and I'm that and whatever. So I feel like all of them are kind of trying to deal with. Charlotte's still kind of on the edge. Like in the first 2 episodes, she's barely there, but like you see Miranda grappling with the idea of dating someone who only dates models. And then Carrie being like, okay, feeling weird about, you know, her place in beauty and being at that fashion show. And then Samantha coming to terms with beauty in a different way, which is like, oh, you only have sex with models. Okay. You're going to have sex with me.
Yeah. Basically it. And okay, so we want to talk about, like, we do our homework, we have our notes. The first thing I want to talk about is the idea of quote unquote ordinary woman. What is ordinary woman? Like when I think that was Miranda. Miranda or Carrie was saying that you know, everybody's dating models. Like, does ordinary women have a chance?
Right. Which like even just kind of like, because that Nick guy, he's just been kind of a normal, blah looking kind of a guy. He wasn't particularly funny or charming. I mean, he was an investment banker, so I guess a little money or something. But like, yeah, so I imagine, and at the time, I think that just the pure numbers of it, there were more women living in Manhattan than men in their age group or whatever, and people talked about that a lot. And so, yeah, I was watching with the boy, and I was like, we're supposed to pretend that Sarah Jessica Parker isn't gorgeous right now. That's the other part of this, is I'm watching these 4 and Carrie acknowledges it, but I'm watching these 4 very beautiful women grappling with not being models. And I'm like, bitch, please.
Like, you know, when it comes to ordinary, right? So you have ordinary, then you have extraordinary, right?
Right. So models and mortals, just normal everyday women, yeah.
Right? What qualifies for extraordinary women? Like,
well, let me tell you. Do you want me to read my resume?
Yes, take it away, Stella. Extraordinary women. Which is kind of funny. Extraordinary is extraordinary.
Right.
The word is like, so being extra on
just ordinary
is actually extraordinary.
Right.
FYI.
There we go. Yeah, no, I don't know. Because I think that this episode's really honest in dealing with the fact that women feel like there's an unattainable standard of beauty, I guess, in this particular case, and feeling like you don't measure up to that. But I don't know.
Right.
I think so. It's just kind of culture in a way. We were just talking about this too, like the ideal body type. Now there's a lot more emphasis on curves and people getting implants and things like that. Where when this was 98, we were still in the era of Christy Turlington, like they mentioned, and Kate Moss and all that, who are beautiful women, but of a certain body type. So I think that some of that with the whole model thing is about body type, like height. I mean, of course, they have beautiful bone structure, but like a lot of it's about height and thinness, and that kind of goes in and out of fashion.
That's the thing, right? So it's ordinary in the eyes of the beholder, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, I can you imagine just I don't know, a friend of mine lived in Italy for a while near Milan, I guess, and there are a lot of models there. And she's like, "Oh yeah, we're just partying with models all the time. We're just always hanging around models." And I remember her; she is very confident. She just said it like, "Oh yeah, we were just always hanging around models. So we go out." Blah, blah. And I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I in my 20s would have been like, oh yeah, just hanging out with models. I might have been like, oh, they're so pretty." Because I remember I had like a roommate who was super, super gorgeous and fit a certain kind of type.
Right.
And I just always remember being like having lots of feelings about it.
Which is so funny, right? So like when I see extraordinary, it's never about beauty. Right. So when I see extraordinary, it's never about beauty. It's about, inner beauty, like any of those things, right? So then if I know what extraordinary is, so if I rewind back, right? If I reverse it, so then I have to define what ordinary is. Then I'm like, am I being biased also? Because I know what extraordinary is. So opposite of extraordinary will be like have no inner beauty. like completely like basic. I'm like, am I being biased?
I don't know. And that's some of it too is I was thinking about that part too, where I'm like, okay, like, yeah, looks, because so much of the show is about dating, right? So that looks part is important, but not. Did you watch Love is Blind?
No.
You don't watch garbage TV.
I don't watch TV in general.
You don't watch TV in general. I also usually don't, but I watch because I don't have a TV. But I was watching them.
Is that one that like they don't see each other and then
yes,
they just talk?
Yes, and then they fall in love, and then they meet each other physically, and then they have to decide if they still like each other or whatever. And I don't know. It was obviously reality TV, but I finished that at the same time I was kind of watching this. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that's still sort of a thing. Like I remember thinking, this was a darkness, I guess. But I remember thinking watching that, and the people who are like, well, we just fell in love with each other's spirits, and we have this deep emotional bond and connection, we're soulmates, and looks didn't play into it, and da 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 da. I would be like, the first thing when I stepped out and met that person in real life, the first thing I would want to be would be, oh my god, you're so beautiful. Like I would want to hear that. And if they were like, oh, and I fell in love with her soul, I'd be like, yeah, but I'm also hot, right? We're like, it still matters to me. Like I don't. It's ego, I guess.
Really? I think this is such an awakening moment in a way. Like, I don't know. I don't know if because I'm conditioned to not like I cannot count on my looks because of my being in the gay community, being Asian, being it's dark, right? So I always value my sense of humor, my talent. Like if people actually say that, oh my God, you're so talented, I'm so drawn to you, your spirit, and everything else. And I'll be like, okay, well, I will sleep with you. That's fine. Like, but when people are like, you are so hot, you're so cute, I'm like, you lying. You lie. Like, I'm completely Miranda in that way. I'm like,
yeah, you're like,
me, like, grow
luminous.
While half of the population will be like, why? You have to shut up right now. Like, you are beautiful. You're so much better than every other person or whatever, like you can't value your beauty that way. And then I'm like, huh. It's so crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
And the funny thing is like I'm okay with being ordinary when it comes to looks, if that makes sense.
Is that like a man thing, maybe?
Maybe.
Because like
I'm a gay man.
I remember thinking that like this is some darkness. So when I was dating, like dating around, right? And I was dating some people that were younger and very good looking.
Uh-huh.
And I remember thinking like, if I was a man, I would just be like, yeah, this girl's beautiful. I'm walking around with this, look at this beautiful girl that I have, like, and just enjoy that person, right?
Uh-huh.
But like, as a woman, I was like, but am I as pretty as her?
Uh-huh.
Or like, or I would feel like I don't like being like perceived as the less attractive of the two people in a couple.
Okay, I get it.
You know that? You know what I'm talking about? Like, yeah. I don't want someone to walk down the street and be like, what are those two doing together? Thinking that I'm like the not good looking one.
Wow. Shadow. Wow.
Speaking of our shadow selves,
we need to like do
I need the cleanse. I'm the one who needs the cleanse. We cleanse Blessed Hex today.
Journaling.
I need
figure some
got a whole new one. Got a whole new journal.
But okay, this is another good point though. I'm gonna say about it. How much of it is society force up on you, right?
Lots, right? Right.
Because of my experience here in America is completely different from my experience in Hong Kong, right? I'm not saying that I was like the hot tamale when I was in Hong Kong, but I was tall. I was, I was the jock. Can you believe I'm the jock? Like I play volleyball. I'm like tall. Like I'm funny, even though I'm a little bit flamboyant. But being flamboyant in Chinese culture back then, it's just being funny. It's like whatever, right? And of course, like the Asian culture is a little bit more like quiet and subdued or whatever, right? So it is what it is. But when I come to America, like this is like, girl, you are gay. You are Gaysian. You are Gaysian. Categorize. Put a stamp on your forehead. You only date old white man and go to that corner. And if I go for like a beautiful, hot, extraordinary model, they'd be like, oh, blocked. Well, they don't have a block back then. They'd be like,
no thanks.
No, thank you. You know, but it is what it is.
Oh my gosh.
Cheers to that. Okay.
The other thing that bothered me about this episode, you know, being a very beautiful and brilliant person, is the part where they were talking about like how they didn't Nick, I think is his name, the modelizer at the beginning with Miranda, and how all the models just like push their food around and pout and have no personality and that can't hold a conversation. And I think that is this other thing that women do where we like
pitch at each other.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, if she's that beautiful, there's no way she could also be smart or entertaining or interesting or nice. It's like you're either beautiful or you're smart, and there's like no way for those two things to be together. And I think that that's kind of messed up.
Well, which is kind of a funny thing. Like me and one of my friend was briefly talking about this, and she was like, "Oh my God, I watched a Sex and the City episode, and I watch, you know, rewatch Sex and the City," and her comment was like, it's so sexist," which is so true. Now you watch back, even the point of view pitching at each other, right?
Yeah.
Either one way or the other. You can't be both, right? And they have to choose. They literally have to choose. Well, we can't write it both ways. We have to write it. Otherwise, the story doesn't go. Otherwise, the resolution, the aha moment at the end for Carrie won't resonate. But the aha moment itself, if we come back nowadays, everybody's like, of course, duh. Like, what are you thinking?
Right. Another thing that I wrote down, I wrote consent, that episode would not play the same and wouldn't resonate the same is the Barkley who's taping having sex with these women without them knowing about it.
Right.
Oh, he's like, oh, this is my real art. And how Carrie's just like, oh, do these women know about it? And he's like, maybe. And we're all just supposed to laugh. And she lights a cigarette. And I'm like, with all of those, like, people's nude photos being leaked and all of the things. And I'm like, yeah, this is a pre-Me Too era thing. And like, I think it's an interesting plot point how like Samantha takes it on as a challenge to like objectify herself as a way of validating herself.
Right.
But like, I'm just watching it now with my 2020 eyes, and I'm like, oh, this is a crime. Oh, this is a crime. Like, he's a criminal and a sexist. And the whole part about it, he's like, they're beautiful things. When he mentions like that they're things, and my life is about beautiful things. And I'm like, wow, like, and it deals with it. Like, Carrie calls him on it a little, but it's definitely not the way that storytelling would happen in 2020, one would hope.
Crazy. But I don't know, like, yes, and thank you.
Right, yes.
Right. The idea of Samantha took it on, and now I'm not saying like, you know, like, but with all the like OnlyFans, like, you know, sexual liberation and everything, like, you know, it is what it is. Like, I wonder if that actually play a part. I couldn't help myself but wonder, did the show created this sexual openness of 2020?
I mean, I think what it did do, as flawed as it is it gave us a vocabulary, and it kind of made it okay to talk about things that maybe people weren't talking about. Like, everyone, like, there are a million dating books out there, right? That all tell you what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And if you think about that time too, like magazines and all this, it's like how to look a certain way, how to get a man, how to do all of this, you know? And then this show says why and is it worth it?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so many plot lines, and this is kind of one of them. It's like, okay, so
it is
what's the point of all of this?
Right. I feel like this episode too is leaning on the weaker, like leaning in the weaker for me as the whole like Sex and the City franchise. I mean, it serves a purpose, right? It's
Right.
like second episode is like something exciting, something that is like I bet at that time is some very hot topic in New York City, or being beautiful and slim. That's what beautiful is, right? And is what is needed right then and there. But nowadays, which is quite eye-opening and pleasing, I suppose, that to see the progress so far. But can it say that it's a progress? Is it a progress?
I mean, I think that we're still dealing with all of these things. And almost in a way, I feel like the sexism is still there, and these expectations and things are still there. People are just smarter about not saying things a certain way. Does that make sense? So like these issues still exist, but a TV show wouldn't be made about the issue.
Right there.
Because it would be like, oh, that's no. We'll be we'll be canceled. People, everyone will be tweeting about it and whatever.
But the canceling culture. We're not going to talk about it because it's not related to the
and then that's problematic on both sides and all sides. But yeah, I feel like we almost aren't allowed to talk about things. This isn't really true, but like sometimes I'll find myself not speaking a truth because it's uncomfortable for people.
Ding, ding, ding.
Like I remember our last episode. I don't remember what I was talking about, but about dating men and dating women. And I spoke my truth, which is that for me, the experience has been very different. Dating men is different than dating women for me personally. And I remember when we were done recording being like, oh, they're going to come for me. The LGBT people are going to be like, no, everyone, love is love. And you're putting, you're saying that there's certain gender roles and there's this and there's that. And I remember feeling like a feeling about it. But like I said something that I'm not allowed to say. Does that make sense?
But that's the thing about, okay, I'm just going to comment on it and we're going to move on because this episode is not about that, right?
Right.
But it is a personal experience. It is a personal experience. What your experience is uniquely your experience. But then they can come for you because you have your personal experience expressed in a public forum. That's why they're coming for you, right?
Right.
But then at the same time, I'm like, which will lead to censorship, will lead to you censoring yourself. Like, I don't know if I should speak that, even though your experience is uniquely yours, is your personal experience, right? And you cannot talk about it, which is crazy. All these little red light, green light, yellow light, like it's anywho. Moving on.
But the way that it ties in is just this idea that the show is groundbreaking in the sense that I think that it did give kind of a voice to some of these things. Like this insecurity and this anxiety that women have about their personal appearance that's dealt with in this episode. Like just the fact that we wouldn't say it now because we would just be like, oh yeah, well, everyone's beautiful and da, 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 da. That doesn't mean that people still don't have these feelings that the characters are grappling with throughout.
I'm also very interested in about like if you have to say, do you think that episode, just that episode, is sexist?
Yes.
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 Completely.
It is, but how do I say this? It's a sexist culture that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that the episode highlights sexism isn't the problem. I think the part that's sexist is just like some of the way that the story is framed.
Gotcha.
So like I don't think talking about beauty and beauty standards and models and not being a model, like none of that is the problem. It's more like this whole like, oh, find a smart one, because you keep bringing around these dumb models. And then the end where Big is like, sometimes you just want to find one who can make you laugh. It's again like putting that thing like beautiful women can't be funny and pretty women can't be smart and like all of this, which is not true. And we would never really think of a man in those sort of ways.
And which I wonder brought back to my point, right? Why did we resonate so much of it back then? Not so much now. Because I was like, oh, that's right. I was that guy. I was that guy in that gay club. Only the old gay, white gay man would hit on me, right? Like, and I haven't been to a gay club for the longest time. I don't know what it is anymore. Probably still the same. But like now with everything else, it feels like, no, I think the younger generation is pretty woke, pretty okay, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
So
there is one moment. This is one of my this episode does have one of my favorite moments in the show, because this is such a thing that women do, and Samantha doesn't, and I think it's great. So it's when they're all saying the things they hate about themselves, and Charlotte's like, I hate my thighs. And then when women have had this conversation, like you're there with your girls and you're all complaining about things. Oh, I hate my hair. Oh, I hate my lips. Oh, I hate my whatever. And then they look at Samantha. Oh yeah, women do that.
Not men.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Not men.
Sitting around like, I really hate I really wish I had abs. I really hate my what's it called?
We don't talk like that, first of all.
No. I mean, I'm sure men have those feelings. Ooh. But they don't sit around like complaining about the things they don't like about their bodies. But women do that. And I remember that moment so clearly, because they all say something except for Samantha. And then they're just looking at her like, all right, what do you hate about yourself? And she's like looking at them like, what? Like, you're expecting me to say something. I don't have anything. I love my appearance. I remember that moment so clearly when I watched that episode the first time. And I was just like, oh.
I want to be her.
I know. I'm like, I want to feel like that. And I sort of kind of do now a little bit. More than I did then, I think. But.
You know, like, which is kind of funny. Interesting, not funny. Because I have that symptom. I have that mentality. I actually enjoy the way I look. I enjoy my height. I enjoy, my cheekbones. I feel like my feature is pretty cute and okay, right? At that time. Not well. Now I can pluck out all my problems because I'm getting older. But well, right. But the experience itself, even though I feel like Samantha, but my experience in the gay community was nowhere near like Samantha.
Gotcha. So even if it wasn't like, oh, I don't know. I think we have this fantasy too that like confidence solves all your problems.
Nope.
Right. You're like, oh, if I just walk in and I'm like, oh, hey, I'm Samantha. The way she always her voice when she introduces herself too. It's so delicious. She's always like, I'm Samantha. Like she's saying it like it's the most delicious thing that could be in her mouth is her own name, which I just love that. I just love that about her.
The darkest shadow. Censorship. I'm worried what I'm gonna say. They're gonna. Right? I don't really care. I don't really care because it is a shadow that I need to face. I needed to face. I was like, the only thing that I wonder, I couldn't help myself but wonder, would it be different if I was white? That was what I constantly, like, if I'm a white person with this beauty, with this confidence,
right.
so that's
well, even when I think about how talented you are artistically, and I think like how many parts you would be perfect for, but they're like,
no.
But do we want an Asian in the role? Because you know what I mean? Like, because then are we trying to say something? And well, if we have an Asian in this role, then now we have to cast an Asian for the dad, and now we have to figure out, and are we going to do an interracial relationship? Like, and so it just kind of spirals.
Off
so I imagine that.
Not talk about this. It's not about this episode. Let's move.
I know.
But which is
go ahead.
Interesting that based on this episode, we spiral into all these other topics. So maybe it's a good episode after all.
Right. Let's look into the comments because people are saying a lot of things that we're not looking at.
Okay.
So let's see if we have any questions or comments.
Michelle says Samantha didn't intrigue big though. Despite her confidence, she was knocked back. Ding, ding, ding. She obviously didn't make Big laugh hard enough. Interesting, which is very true.
Yeah, I've thought about that too. Like I think some of it too is that power thing that we talked about last time. Like, and Hector is saying that Big is a romantic and Samantha's obviously not a romantic. So that's part of it too, right? Like he doesn't want to just go have sex with her in the club.
Yeah.
No matter the fact that she's beautiful and whatever. Like, that's not the point for him.
Right.
So yeah, some of it's that he's a romantic, but I think also some of it is that there's that gender thing there a little bit. And like, he wants to pursue and chase. And Samantha also will pursue and chase. And when you have like two chasers, that doesn't always work.
Big probably could see what type of a person she was. What do you mean? Oh, because she's so forward, and that means she is a promiscuous person. Is that what you're saying, Miss Tiger's the Bliss? But then, right? But then, why bother? It's just sex. So what? Right?
Right. Well, I think that's the whole big thing is that he's a romantic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in these two episodes, not knowing some of the nonsense to come. Yeah. But like these two episodes, you're just like, oh wow, yeah, this one.
Dreamboat
who just like swoops in. Oh, remember love? Oh, you write about sex. That's cute.
Yep. Oh, I want to find a funny one. See, I think that your column is funny. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Well, okay. So remember, this is Hacks in the City. We are not talking about politics. We're not talking. Well, we were talking about politics today because there's so much on our minds lately, right? Mad craziness. But I dropped down this little thing. She said, remember she was trying to help Skipper? She was like, there's a curse. I was like, curse. What? What's like, curse? Right? No. Curse. What is it? When you help your friend,
you try to set your friends up.
Yep. I'm like, is there any curse? Is there any ritual or curse? Like what? Well, let's go back to basic. We're not doing a curse 101 here. Let's just talk about a little bit about curses and like casting spell. And you're a witch, so tell the audience, tell your listener what your version of curses and casting spells are.
Right. So, I tend not to do what people would call a curse very often. I can only think of a couple of situations, and I think that some diehards out there would not call those really curses. But for me, magic, according to Dion Fortune's definition, is the art of changing consciousness at will. Or the Crowley version is that magic is the art of changing consciousness in conformity with will, right? So you're doing something in order to encourage an outcome that you want, right? So if you get crazy with it, then like everything's magic. Like brushing your teeth, I made a choice to do this in order to have an outcome that happens, right? So in that case, kind of anything could be a spell. But the way that I think of it is like praying with props, basically.
Okay, and then, but sure, that's a personal, curses, spell, whatever. But is there general curses, like what Carrie is saying? I'm helping a friend. I got that.
Oh.
No good deed comes undone. Oh, I did a
Oh,
good
yeah.
right? Like, what do you think about that?
I don't think that that's true. That anytime you set someone up with your friend that you're cursed, but I know what she means by that, which is when you introduce these two spheres in your life and then you're that person in the middle, then you've got all that go between and you're like, oh, here we go again. So it's just kind of like the whole idea of like not dating people that you work with, or like all those other kind of like little rules that we all have. So
do you have any, like, if you feel like shit, that's a curse right there. Oh shit, I just hook up, or I just link up Y with one of your best friend. I'm still single. Whoever listening on the cusp tarot, YM, I'm single. I'm looking for.
I'm terrible at setting people up because I love my friends so much
that that if I date one of your person, it will be.
No, I think that my friends are too good for anyone. So they'll be like, "Hey, do you know anybody who's single?" I'm like, "Not that's good enough for you," like. I remember I was out with a friend and they so I was out and about with a friend and they met another friend of mine that I used to work with. And he contacted me after the fact and texted me and was like, "Hey, I really liked your friend. Can I get her number? How can I?" And I was just like, this person is the most amazing human being that I've ever had. Like I said, it was just like, she's absolute perfection. She's the best person in the entire universe. I've like literally introduced this person. I'm like, "Hi, this is the best person I know." Like I'm just kind of like that. So I don't know. I'm not good at setting people up because I'm like
that. Great. I'll be single for the rest of my life. That's okay. I'll still be your best friend.
All right.
Well, do you have any like? What if I am cursed? What if I am cursed that I cannot find a lover, a boyfriend, a partner? Do you believe in those things? What if someone cursed me?
I think that it's more likely that you cursed yourself.
And how can I undo that?
I don't know, because I don't know where it comes from. But I feel like when people, because that's not my experience. Like, and I don't know what that is, but I've like my romantic life, I've always found pretty easy, right? Like you've been there for a lot of it. And like, that it's just always kind of happens easily for me. And I think it's like a mentality thing a little bit.
So I am my biggest cursed.
I think so, because you're going out there like, oh, there's no one out there for me, and oh, I'm so this way and I'm so that, and like when you're putting that out all the time, even though you're putting out all this delicious Y energy, right? Like, oh, we always want to watch everything you do, and we want to laugh at your thing, we want to do this, we want to do this, we want to do that. And like everyone loves you, and you're like, well, if everyone loves me, why am I not finding love? It's because like I think that like you're putting out there that like
sweet baby. Cheers to that. Oh my God. Okay. story time, 44 minutes. Well, I'll do a quick story time. When I immigrated, whatever that word is. When I came to America, I was, I never dated anyone whatsoever, but my mind was so set on being successful, being powerful, being, I'm gonna make it. I was gonna make it, right? I was so lonely because all my friends are in Hong Kong. I was like at the peak of my popularity. I was about to go to drama school in Hong Kong, become a big pop singer whatsoever, and then come to America, and everybody hates me, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing here. And then I remember vividly. I don't remember which day, but it was a full moon. I think it's the Mid-Autumn Festival, my first Mid-Autumn Festival in America. And I swear to the moon. I said, if I can be successful, I am okay of being alone for the rest of my life. Just make me successful.
You said that out loud?
I said it out loud to the moon.
I think we might have your answer.
So all your witches out here listening around, please send me a remedy. Please send me a spell, something I need to do. I've been apologizing to the moon ever since. I'm like,
yeah, can I take it back? Can I take it back?
I remember vividly. I was crying because I was, I'm being in a new country and I miss my friend, and I feel like I would never get anywhere. All my relatives hates me. Nobody understand who I am. Just give me something. I feel alone as it is anyway. The Wicked Witch of the West. If I'm gonna be if I'm gonna
fine, I'm taking it on. Might as well. If I'm flying solo, I'm flying free. Let's do this.
Right? I'm like, exactly. I'm flying solo. Let it be. Just make me a success. And then and they keep rolling and rolling. I'm like, I'm feeling quite successful right now. So, and you know what though? It is the funny thing, because what you just said about what I'm putting out there. Because then if universe is the moon asking and say, hey, okay, we'll reverse the curse. We'll give you a lover tomorrow and we'll take back all your success. Will you accept it? And I don't know I will.
I don't know either.
Oh, I don't know I will. Maybe that's why I'm single. Oh, maybe that's why I'm single, ladies and gentlemen.
The universe is abundant. Why? The universe is abundant. It has plenty of success and it has plenty of love too. You don't have to choose between these things.
Hector said, try asking now to the sun. Okay.
There you go. That's a reversal. There you go.
Sun, girl, or dude, or whoever you are, come on, send me a lover. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's look at some comment out here. Michelle said Aiden doesn't break Carrie. He doesn't humiliate her or disappoint her like Rick continues to do throughout. Ooh.
Yeah, there's a whole kind of comment thread here talking about all the different people that Carrie's been with.
Okay, well, we'll save that. We'll ignore. Yeah. We'll
talk about that. But I love this one. The Lucy Aqualuna says the ultimate tea, as in truth, is that Carrie was the worst, and there's that. And I think I've been thinking about that a lot because I identify a lot with Carrie. And like I'm also a writer. I recently did a writing activity where you have to write down everyone you've been in a romantic relationship with, and then you have to write down like everything that you did that was like inconsiderate, insensitive, selfish. And I was like, oh. And so I identify with her a lot. And I think that that's kind of cool that she is kind of an asshole, because we don't have very many characters like that on TV that are women. Like we have Breaking Bad, you know, and we have Mad Men. Like we have all these shows where there's like a tragic hero and or an anti-hero, Californication, like all these shows, right? Where it's like there's this guy and he's so messed up, but we can root for him anyway. But like women, we don't have that many characters like that.
That's true. That's very
Scarlett
true.
O'Hara, I guess. Carrie, Gone Girl.
Very
so
true.
Yeah, so I think she's really messed up, but I love that because it's like we don't have that very much. Like if you think about shows that were on at the same time, what do we have? Felicity, Friends, where it's like people are flawed, but their flaws are like, oh, she's too clean. Oh, she's too whatever.
Right.
Not like real human failings of like insecurity and addiction and overconsumption and, you know, cheating on people, like actual, like real character flaws.
Yeah.
So yeah, right. She's great. Team Carrie. I'll defend her horribleness to the end. We need more horrible women.
Because you are Carrie.
Right. You know.
All right, let's play the game. Of course, it's time.
Oh, here we go.
For cleanse, bless, or hacks, which is our version of F, marry, or kill. So who do you have?
So I had a hard time because there were a couple of characters, but I stuck with the men that kind of come in and out instead of doing this with like the Sacred Four. So I chose Barkley, Big, and Derek the Underwear.
Oh my God!
It's not the So 2 for 2 of us choosing.
Right. I'm like, for real, like,
oh my God.
We talk about ordinary women, it has a chance, curses, sexes, and these are the on point. For those who are listening, I just show my note on camera right now so that to prove to the world that we are actually kind of in sync. Thank you.
We chose the same 3 again. All right.
Okay, so let's talk about the 3 guy. Mr. Big, we know who Mr. Big is, right?
Right. So Mr. Big, the real estate developer who was in the first episode, he just kind of flits in and out of this episode a tiny little bit.
And then we have Barkley, who is the
artist. Yeah, he's the modelizing artist. So he's not the original modelizer that Miranda goes on a date with. He's the one who makes art and secretly films women having sex with him and is a creep, super creep. And then Derek, who's Stanford's client. And just Iowa model boy.
Just want to lay in bed with Carrie and talk because he feels lonely sometime in the big city. So who will give a hot moment for the chat to comment who they want between Mr. Big, the dreamy Mr. Big in this episode, based on this episode, right? He's still kind of dreamy. He said, you know, you're cute. You know, he wants to find the funny girl, right? We have Barkley, which is completely honest, like I like model, but super sexist, modelizer, compare women to beautiful thing, right? And then we have Derek, who is the so-called kind of like the what the episode was kind of the flip of the episode, that proving a model can still kind of, well, I don't know, kind of have brain, but still have emotion. It's not superficial. There's something in him that even though he is good looking, but deep down inside, he still has feelings.
Right. Like he's sweet.
Super sweet.
He's sweet. He wants to be understood. Yeah.
Right. So who would you want to cleanse? That means you want to like that. Bless. You want to marry, like bless him, have your beautiful love ceremony with you forever, and have like bye, be gone. And then once again, the choices are Mr. Big, Barkley, the womanizer, the modelizer, and Derek, the beautiful, good-looking model.
Right. I didn't think about this ahead of time because I thought that you were gonna have to do it, not me, because I didn't think we would pick the same people again.
I already know my answer.
You know your answer? Okay, then I'll go then so that I'm not influenced. So at this point, all right, so this is where we have to just say, first of all, Barkley's gonna be hexed. Barkley's gone. He's very adorable. He may also be very artistically talented. He's kind of funny, but no, he's a super creep. He's my hex. So we're hexing him. We're putting the bad juju on that one. So it comes down to me between who am I going to catch and release, right? Like who am I just going to like help out, and who needs a cleansing, right? Like who needs like their stuff shifted. And in this episode, if I'm using cleanse in the literal sense of cleanse and not as a euphemism for then I would say I would cleanse Derek, because I think he needs to kind of clean some things out from his aura so that he feels like he can have those like authentic connections with people and then he doesn't feel so alone. In this episode, and I was kind of torn between that with him and with Big, I guess. So I guess I'd go with Bless for Big.
Okay.
He was very honest. I found him very honest in this episode. Without being like creepy or misogynist. Like that part where he's at that party with the models and she says, I'm writing about guys who date models, and he says, well, they're lucky, but he doesn't do it in a way that makes you feel like he's a creeper. He does it in a way that's like, oh yeah, there are beautiful women. People date beautiful women. Okay. But that's not what I want for that's not the only thing that I want. So that's what I'm going to stick with, I think. It's not the same, is it?
Completely different. I'm glad that we choose the same person, but kind of completely different. What did we agree last time?
I think so. Because who did we pick? Last time was Skipper,
Big, and ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, we agreed last time.
Yeah. This time I am going to hex Mr. Big.
Ooh, are you gonna Samantha up on me right now?
I don't like games.
Yeah.
Like the chasing game is like, ugh.
Yeah, I remember thinking that too when I was watching this episode. I'm like, just ask for her number. Like, why? Like, do you want to date her or not?
Like that was like I don't know, like and just the way that he's so smirky, like. But also the entitlement, like, hi, remember she was with the model in the bar. This is so entitled. And then like I'm like, grow up. You slept, you probably with the girl, the model, whatever, and then now you come to my coffee shop and say, I want to look for somebody who is funny. What? Bye. Swipe left.
Good. I like that perspective.
Right? And then I would actually want to cleanse Barkley.
I bet you do.
I know. I'm like, well, I want to see how good you are. I want to see if you're worth it. I do want to see, the camera. I'm like, I had a Samantha moment. I'm like, what if he's like really good? Man, and then also I'm like, maybe this is everyone's problem, or most of our problem. It's like after that, after I cleanse you, you'll be coming back for more because I know how to cleanse, okay? Because I know how to do a cleanse from top to bottom. Let's just put it that way. From top to bottom or bottom to top. Anywhere. In between. Thank you. And then the ideal Iowan, you know, having a house. It will be so boring with him, but I will also feel so safe.
Yeah.
But then I'll probably turn into the Bridges of Madison County.
Is he gay? Did we figure that out from this episode? I know someone was talking about it in the chat. Stanford wants him to be, but do we think he's gay or not?
Oh, I don't think he's gay.
No, I didn't think so either. I'm not sure.
He's possibly gay.
Right.
But just the idea of like, and also I think we all, I'm not gonna speak for everyone, but consciously we do have that savior complex. Oh, I'm so lonely. I just want to cuddle. Like we lean into that. Even though we want to deny, no, I'm not a savior or whatever, I can save you. But we lean into those things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's my choice.
Ooh la la.
Okay, let's see the chat. Michelle said, hacks, Bradley, broccoli, makes sense, like you. Cleanse, Mr. Big. Is that you? No, that's not you. You cleanse.
I cleansed Derek.
And then bless Derek, which is my choice. And then Lucy said, based on this episode only, cleanse Barkley on the same page. Thank you. He has a lot of sex experience. Ding, ding, ding. Make me feel something. Bless Mr. Big. He is cool in this episode. And curse Derek. Too boring. Sorry. Who else comment?
I think I'm the only one who's using cleanse, bless, and hex literally, and everyone else is not. So I just want to put that out there. When I say bless, I mean bless. When I say hex, I mean hex. I think you all mean some other stuff. So
we all mean the subtext.
You mean this? Yeah, I am speaking on the level.
You are like,
yeah,
for real.
Holy water, all the things.
All right. Okay. So, we finished this episode in an hour and 2 minutes. This is beautiful. So we will keep on. We'll keep on doing next one, which is season 1, episode 3. So for those who are in the chat right now watching it, and for those who watch it later, comment down below. Let us know what you think. Any thoughts, comment on the topics we talked about in this episode, more than welcome. Drop it a like. Remember to subscribe to Miss Stella Speaks. Tell them where they can find you.
You can find Stella Speaks on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, as well as Podbean. So those are the places you can currently find my podcast, which I need to convert the other one to audio still. So
what is it?
But I'm going to figure that out soon. The last episode, I still need to convert it to audio and put it on my podcast. But you can listen to other content. I have my most recent episode was about the magical properties of pumpkin spice lattes. And then you need to listen, yeah.
I'm in Omaha now. So it's,
are you?
The pumpkin patches are gonna open and
yeah, it's about time.
All over. I'm
about to do cute fall stuff right now.
Which is what? What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna go to an apple orchard.
Oh, gross! With your sweater, with your sweater. With your scarf.
Not only in a sweater. Why? I'm about to tell you something.
Your infinity scarf.
No, in matching jackets.
Oh my God, grow up, grow up, grow up. I'm doing a hard Samantha right now.
I'm getting cleansed right now, I know.
I am leaving. This is once, ladies and gentlemen.
Page of Cups over here, I guess.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are listening right now, Miss Stella literally pulled out a matching outfit for her and her dear lover to go to Apple place together. So it is time for us to say goodbye. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Remember to subscribe to Stella Speak on podcast. And over me, I am Y on the Cusp Tarot. Come at me. I'm on TikTok now. Subscribe me on TikTok. I got like 2,000 followers on TikTok already.
You're so famous on TikTok.
So famous. 2,000. Thank you. So follow me on TikTok. Get me to 10,000, a million. Thank you. I will be successful and alone for the rest of my life. But get me. Thank you. I'm praying to the sun tomorrow morning when I wake up. Thank you. Remember to subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you will know when we go live again for the next hacks and the city. And ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, our closing.
Blessed be, bitches.
Blessed be, bitches. Have a good week. Bye.